My guest today is the prolific composer and musician, Barbara Higbie, and we're talking about her latest CD, Presence. Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you, Laura. So nice to see you.
It's great to have you back. It's been 2018 or 2019, 2019.
Oh, really? That long? Wow.
Yeah, right before.
I follow your podcasts. Yeah. Oh, Resonance.
Resonance. Yeah.
Here, with this album.
Yes, we were talking about Resonance, and now here we are talking about the third in the trilogy. So we've got Resonance.
Resonance, I'll just show them right now.
Yeah,
that's the first one from 2019.
Yeah.
This is Murmuration from 2021. And this is Presence from 2022. It just came out in November. So
exciting. And I love this album. We're going to talk about how much I love this album.
Oh, great.
But before I talk about that, I want to talk about, for anyone who doesn't know Barbara Higbie, where have you been? Like, where have you been?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm so famous. Yeah.
You are, when I say prolific, you are prolific. And you have how many records out now?
I counted them up. I think it's 18 now, if you count.
Only 18.
Only 18.
Sleep at the wheel.
I think I have 8 solo records, and then I had a group named Montreux for many years, and then I did some duo records with Teresa Troll. So,
and you've played on over 100.
Over 100, yes, probably well over 100. Yeah,
with the likes of Santana and Bonnie Raitt, and
we're like this, you know. We really are.
You are so low key, man. But you are
a lot of studio work, and also just been I felt very called to music as a little kid. So, and I come from a musical family, so I think it's kind of in my blood. My grandmother was a pianist and singer, and it's just, I think it's one of those things, like a sports family or a whatever, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And is your mother the one from the Orkney Island? I mean, your grandmother from the Orkney Island?
I think it was her mother, you know. Yeah, they're the Scottish. Yeah, it's the Scottish side of my family that's from the musical side. Yeah.
So interesting. So interesting. And you kind of got to San Francisco and or the Bay Area via Indiana, via West Africa, where you studied music as well and were inspired. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was a crazy life trajectory. I was a little kid in small towns in the Midwest, mostly in Indiana. And then my parents decided to get someone else to run their business, and they wanted to volunteer for this, not being missionaries. It was like almost like a Peace Corps type thing, where they started a nonprofit that was another guy's idea. It was called TechnoServe, helping people learn to be entrepreneurs. So we moved to Ghana, Accra, Ghana, when I was 13. And I lived there for a couple years there and went to an international school. And they started this organization called TechnoServe. It's a nonprofit. And I just looked it up because my parents have passed away now, bless their hearts. And it turned into the #1 nonprofit in the world for alleviating poverty. It's like
wow, that's amazing. What cool parents, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, someone else took the ball and ran with it after they bowed out, but yeah, they had was a really great idea about empowering people and not giving people money, but giving them support for starting their own businesses. So
yeah, how that's amazing. And then they actually did it. They had the idea and they actually did it. And
all over the world, it's amazing. Yeah, it's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And so now as we talked about, you were last on the podcast 2018, 2019, and we've had COVID, which was a bizarre, I mean, I feel like we're just emerging, but it's been years really since, and here you are, an active touring musician, you have big concerts, nationally, internationally. And how are you doing? How did you do in all of that?
Oh, I was at the point in my career where I really needed some time off the road. And I
Mhm.
had been even floating the idea of retiring just because it was enough travel for me at that point. Because I've been, let's see, I don't know, it's getting close to 50 years that I've been doing this. I started really young and it's been going and going and going. So I was really happy for the time at home. It was amazing to get unemployment for the first time. Musicians got unemployment.
Yeah.
But it was a stressful time for everyone. I haven't had it. My daughter was in her first year of college and then was home, and everyone was working from our little house. So it was tricky, but I was very grateful for the time. So, and I'm very grateful that things seem to be easing up for people now. That's good.
Yeah. We've come out, and you've had some concerts recently.
Yes.
And you've been doing some touring. So
Mhm.
how is that coming back into?
Yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking at first. I'd say, how everyone has social anxiety and all that. I think performing, then that's another level up of social anxiety, because then everyone's looking at you. So, so the first few times I was pretty the first big concert I did was a CD release concert. So it was all new music with a band that had only gotten together once because of COVID. So that was stressful, but it's been great ever since. And people were so happy, it was a revelation to be together, and that feeling. And there's nothing like the feeling of live music and being with people and being in that moment. It's magic. It's magic.
Yeah. And is this the CD release, the Presence?
Yes.
Is that the
Uh-huh.
concert? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a little bit. I love, you've told me a little bit about how how it all came to you, how this trilogy, these 3 albums came
Right.
to you. Can you talk a little bit about that? It's fascinating.
Yeah, it was kind of a miraculous thing. I mean, my early career when I was 21, I was the first woman signed to Windham Hill Records. So I had a lot of experience writing instrumental music, and then I kind of went into the singer-songwriter thing and more, I'd done a lot of instrumental music, but it had been in the past quite a ways. So my good friend Teresa Lumiere, who's an amazing body worker in Marin, and she was always like, would you please make an album that I can work to? I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. So I thought, well, I'll just go do this meditation album. And of course, it turned into, I'll show it again. That's this album. It turned into more melodic maybe than most meditation records. And it's with Jamie Sieber, who's a genius on the cello, Mia Pixley on the acoustic cello, and Michelle Gerlitz on percussion. So it's a lot of it was, I had structures, but it was improvised, and and then there's songs. I mean, I tend to write kind of song form instrumental music, so it's pretty melodic. And somehow it worked as a body of work. And then it came out right before the pandemic. So people had it. And then I just kept getting email after email after email that people said, I've played this 100 times now. I've played it 200 times. I've never stopped playing it. It's just that it hit the right moment, which, artists, we are always putting out material, but you never know, it's just one of those moments if you hit it right for people and what they need in the moment. And it felt like a deep artistic moment for me as well. So then I thought, well, I should do a sequel. And that was so beautiful. So when things started opening up, I booked studio time and I had this access to a really wonderful piano store. They gave me the key. So at night I would go in this piano store with all these $200,000 pianos and just be able to go off in my fantasies. And then my friend Lisa Vogel, who's such a music producer, she would listen to things and tell me, oh, go this direction, go that direction, blah, blah, blah. This works, that, I like this, whatever. So anyway, I had a whole album's worth, and we did this Murmuration album that with the same lineup with Jamie. And I had to send it to Jamie remotely this time. And she put her parts on. And then while we're in the middle of recording this, I'll show you the back too. I don't guess my creative juices were really primed, and I had like 2 sleepless nights where I just kind of downloaded a whole other album and just like, oh, here's another new tune. Here's another new tune. Here's another new tune. And we were only going to make 2 albums. And then Lisa, my producer, said, I think we've got 3 albums here. It's so then we just waited a year. We recorded it all at the same time as this.
Yeah.
And then we just waited a year and released this. So that's how that,
Wow.
I know, pretty amazing. It was really, really a blessing. Felt like,
You were channeling something.
Yes.
And, and I love all 3 of the albums, and this last album, really, we can't stop playing it. We can't, it's all every day.
Wow. That's so
on.
great. It's your companion, huh?
Yeah. It's our soundtrack, but the thing about it, well, it's just, it's so supportive in this way. I feel like for people, it can meet them in all these different ways. Mm-hmm. And, from a meditative standpoint, it opens something. So, mm-hmm. It's opening, and you just can go, there's no limit to how deeply you can go into this. And, I really, want to encourage people who are looking for music that is listenable and yet also deep. This kind of has it all in this way. So it's hard to articulate about these things, but I'm going to do my best because it's important. But there's a way that you are have these subtleties to the music, and create this sort of sonic landscape, and it's spare in some ways that's brilliant. You can't always, it has a brilliance to it, and in an understated way. So it really, you can listen to it just like going about your day, but you can also listen to it to go really deeply in and rest, and it's an amazing album. And I think people
huge compliment. Thank you, Laura.
Yeah, no, it's like the best I can do to use words to describe it. But yes, if you're a body worker or a chiropractor or whatever you do, you can have this album playing, and you can also have it on for a dinner party.
Right. That's it. Kind of does fit. I know, even my brother, who's like a baby boom, older brother who's a baby boom Beatles lover, loves them. Yeah.
Yeah. What's not to love? And I think Issa told you that our parakeets love them, and that is sort of that is an amazing achievement. I don't know about my parakeets, but they really they really like Aretha Franklin and Al Green and Pink and Bob Marley. So when we put on music that could be considered a little bit more meditative or slower music, they're always like, but not them. They're like singing along. So it's
that's so interesting. I wonder what they like about it. Wow.
I'm telling you, it's deep.
I know that the one thing about this music is because I've been in the studio since a young age, and I know that work, and I know pianos, and I've played fine pianos all over the world. I did not spare expense on this. I'm going to be paying this off for a long time. So it's great if you buy some, because I went in the finest studio with the finest piano, a $200,000 piano, with the finest piano tuner, with the finest engineer, all these things, and the sonically everything is just, I think that really helps. And then I don't know, just the magic of these amazing musicians. And I've been writing instrumental music for so long, and I have created my own language, but I felt like this was the perfect kind of a nurturing environment that let it be what it really wanted to be. I don't know. And Lisa Vogel really helped so much. She had such a heart there. It's like we just were really wanting to do music that felt healing. And that was the number one. And while we were making it, like you'd get to the studio and be frazzled or whatever, and they turn it on and suddenly it just felt good. So I was like, wow.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think you hit it when you said, you wanted to make music that was healing, and you really did. And music is healing. Music is, really has that capacity. And I want to talk to you more about that and your experience with it, and the way that it enters you and really speaks. It affects emotions. It can get you amped up or amped down.
It's an amazing, well, I don't know. Well, I've a couple of things. I'm very interested in how the brain works, and all the since the 90s, we have all this explosion in brain science and all that kind of information. And our brains are basically, the three structures: the reptilian, the mammalian, and then the human brain, the gray matter on top. And one of the few times that all the three of those brains function together is with art, and especially with music.
Yeah.
So it's like it's almost like it's when our brains evolve, when we're listening to music, it's when our brains can work at their highest level. So maybe it supports that. I don't know, but people keep saying I have it on while I'm working, and it just helps me keep going. It helps me go, be at my highest self there while I'm working. So that's kind of cool.
That's a really good point. And it sounds like, it's harmonizing, like on energetically, and physiologically.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then there's something about the 60 beats per minute is where, we all have our nervous systems are divided into two parts, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. The sympathetic is the fight or flight. The parasympathetic is the rest and digest, which is basically the healing state. So at 60 beats per minute is when your mind entrains into your nervous system, entrains into the healing parasympathetic. So the only rule I had for myself during this composing was that everything would be, 60 beats per minute or less in general. There'll be undercurrents of faster tempos, but so that it can be restful for your nervous system.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah. That's what you feel. You feel it physically.
Yeah.
That consistency. Yeah. But I can't stand, I'm a Gemini, so I can't stand those meditation albums that are like dong, it's great in some, well, if you're, in some context, like for acupuncture sessions or whatever, it can be great, but just to have on all the time, I can't do too monotonous music. So
yeah. And it's easy to, again, there's this, kind of a thinner line, or there's a depth, and it's the depth that really, and speaking of depth, we're just getting to the players on the album, like Mia Pixley and Jamie Sieber, two cellists, Wow. like that is, the cello is just unbelievable. And so different. They're so different, the two cellos.
Yeah, because Jamie Sieber plays electric cello and Mia Pixley plays acoustic. Well, Jamie also will play acoustic, but I chose Mia Pixley to play the acoustic parts on this because I wanted Jamie to be featured as her electric cello. She's just such a leader in that field, in my opinion. She's amazing.
Oh yeah, and masterful. And again, another, that her work with the cello, her creations are so deeply meditative and take you into yourself. It's altering in a good way. So you've got her on the album, Michelle Gerlitz, who's just a masterful percussionist, and Vicki Randall.
Oh, and Vicki Randall, right? I didn't mention because she wasn't on the very first album, but she
Yeah.
was on the second too. And she's
Yeah.
playing guitar, which she's mostly, Vicki Randall was on the Jay Leno Tonight Show for 18 years. She's mostly known as a singer and a percussionist,
Right.
but she's a really good guitar player. And and Lisa Vogel suggested her as I was thinking it'd be nice to have like a Bill Frisell kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
I called her up and said, "Can you be emergency Bill Frisell, please?" I'm there. I got it.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. And how do you, so you kind of channeled this in, and how do you come up with the names for the songs?
Oh, well, again, Lisa Vogel really helps me with that because I'll have a few, like one I came up with originally was Trees I've Known, because I'm such a tree. I spent my childhood sitting in trees.
Yeah.
But she came up with a lot of them, and I did come up with the name Resonance. She came up with the name Murmuration. We would bat things around, and I was really interested in the concept of resonance because that's basically string theory is basically resonant, whatever the bigger theories in physics of the way the universe works are about resonance. And I just think that's a really interesting concept, that things, you can hit a tone that actually becomes bigger just by hitting the right tone. That's,
yeah, it's so interesting. So interesting.
Like riding a wave. It's like a surfer getting the wave, or, in music, it's all with your feelings, but it's the same as finding a wave and riding it. And you're on something bigger than you, it feels like.
Yeah, so sweet.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about your creative process, just generally.
I'm an improviser. I like to kind of, I guess you would call it just go into trance and let my fingers do the walking. I mean, I practice a lot. I have been a pianist since I was 4 years old, and my hands are itchy to play. They love to play. And I've played all kinds of music. I like to, learn everything from Latin, some salsa piano to, Bartok to, Chopin and anything. And I love African rhythms. So I love translating all that. And that's been kind of my life's work, is translating, kind of creating my own language of composing. Yeah. Here I'm waving my hands around. Sorry.
That's all right. Yeah.
So I let my fingers do the walking. I try to stay in practice, and then of course I'm out of practice right now because I took a break. But and then I try to give myself time and just hear melodies and sing them and feel where they want to go. And then I'm interested in certain chord movements and how those feel, and it's kind of just exploration. And then I record it all, and then sometimes it'll come as a full piece. Like some of these pieces, they're just transcriptions of something I improvised, and quite a few of them are just straight up transcriptions, and then we turned them into a group piece.
Yeah,
I would say that's my most common thing, is just channeling. Really just a channel, try to get out of the way. Try to stay. It's like an athlete. It's like, or maybe a figure skater, where you have to have your muscles in shape and all that, but then you just let loose on the ice and you're flying around, and sometimes you land on your face, but sometimes you fly into the air. That's what it is. It's just, they call musicians small muscle athletes. I guess that's.
Oh, I hadn't heard that. That's very interesting.
Yeah, but then the composing part is more like I don't know how to describe it really, but that's some mathematics going on. You're kind of thinking, oh, it'd be fun to go to this song, this note now, or it could be a little bit of this song and a little bit of that song, and you move it, and I wonder how that would sound, and oh, it needs to go misty now, or it needs to go you know, rhythmic now, or I don't know. I probably have a whole thing going on in my brain.
Yeah, yeah, I'm picking your brain here. So when you say you kind of let fly, are you, it sounds like you're not thinking when you're channeling initially and you just kind of go. So you're not thinking in that moment, or are you, like, this, I should play this note? Like, you're not thinking about the key and which note you're playing.
I think I am, but it's like as if when we're speaking, we're not thinking about each word. We're
Right.
thinking about what we want to convey. So I think my life's work has been getting to the point where my hands know how to do it if I can think of what it is, if I can be in touch with what it is that needs to be what I need to express right then. So that's what it is. Yeah.
Cool. And would you say that's like a feeling, like you're feeling it as you go? You're kind of feeling it.
Yeah.
And then everything's working together. And so, to your point, you have to be in some shape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
to be able to effectively bring it in. And
I think so. For me, I do. Yeah.
just stick the landing, as it were.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense.
Yeah. I feel like there's so many masters that have come before us, but what I have to offer is, you know, I was really one of I mean, there's Mary Lou Williams, and there were some great women in jazz and classical music, but it's been many fewer women writing instrumental music through, or any kind of music really, through the years. So I felt like, especially with these albums, they are so woman identified in a really, you know, the female returning kind of way is what you know, maybe that's what I have to give. That's because I did grow up playing with, you know, some of the hottest, you know, fastest, strongest, most virtuosic musician guys. And I kind of played on that playing field, but my values were really different. I didn't care if I was the fastest or you know, I cared about what was being communicated and what kind of emotion was being communicated, I guess. And we would have these battles where I'd say, well, this is cool that we can play 8 million notes simultaneously super fast, but does it mean anything to anybody? So
Yeah.
Trying to ride that line of, yeah, you're doing a really great technical job, but you're also expressing, like, I mean, there's so much room for nurturing in this world. Everyone needs more nurturing. And I feel like that's what I have to offer is a sense of my community is a nurturing community, my musical community. It's a sense of nurturing. I guess that's really what I have.
I love that you identify it as woman identified. You know, that's a really interesting perspective on it. And, you know, so much of the music industry has been and really still is male identified, or in that sort of masculine, that competitive, you know, let fly, you know, shred, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that, which is when I kind of started talking to you today about the album, is like, there's this, you know, I like your description of nurturing, but there's a spareness to it that has brilliance, is informed. You know, it's not like you can't shred, you know, it's like, right. It doesn't belong there.
Right.
And I think that happens, what I find sometimes with some really great musicians, talented musicians, is that sometimes it feels like they're getting in the way of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, and then I can do this here, and then I can make that change, and then I can put this in, and, you know, and it technically is really, you know, great, but there's no, it lost something, soul, right. Lost some feel. And, you know, Barbara Higbie presence, Murmuration and Resonance is all feel. It's like there's so much feeling there, you know. So it's interesting to think of it as, you know, kind of bringing these values of the of the sacred feminine, if you will, you know, to it.
Totally. The love, it's trying to get that loving feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
Mushy. I mean, still high level technically, but not, you know, not too formless, but just like really strong, nurturing. Like, you know, if you're in a hospital, you want the nurse that knows her stuff. And I feel like you want music. I'm the nurse who knows my stuff, you know?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is, it's good medicine. It's
Right.
excellent medicine, you know.
Right. It's solid.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So what's coming up for you?
Oh, I'm about to do the Olivia Records 50th anniversary cruise
Oh,
in
where is that?
the Caribbean. It's for it's 2-week-long cruises back to back. So a big ship, over 2,000 people. It's all sold out. So
That is going to be a party. I just want to interject. I want to interject that. So Barbara's you've been on Olivia Records, and you've been on, you were the first
yeah.
woman signed to Windham Hill, which is just both remarkable labels and have their own history and worlds to them. So Olivia now has, it's like a lifestyle, you know, cruises, and the 50th anniversary of Olivia in the Caribbean is going to be quite the party, it sounds like.
I think it will be. Yeah, I think so. And my longtime musical partner, the great Teresa Trull, who's like a powerhouse blue-eyed soul singer, who lives in New Zealand now, is coming. She's coming for, you know her. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting. And you guys have a concert coming up, the Freight and Salvage, and in Occidental also, is it?
And Nevada City.
Nevada City. Oh,
yeah,
great.
Nevada City's March 16th, and the Freight is March 18th. So, and that's our 40th anniversary. Teresa and I had our debut album that was kind of a big national hit at the time, called Unexpected. It's the 40th anniversary. I can't believe it.
Wow.
We were babies. Yeah.
Oh, you were. I've seen pictures. Oh, I remember too.
Were you born? I don't think so.
Totally. And yeah. But the pictures you got, I swear, it's like little babies.
Yeah. Little babies, totally. Yeah.
But
we always have so much fun playing, and that'll be great. Yeah.
So this will be out before that, so we'll get the word out. If you're in the Bay Area,
yes, please come to the Freight.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, and it's not often we get to see you and Teresa play. So
she hasn't been here for 5 years, and probably won't be here for another 5. So definitely worth coming. Yeah, she's a brilliant musician.
Yeah, great. That's exciting. And what else for you? Anything else? Well, not that that's not a lot coming up.
Yeah. Well, I got back. I was in Germany, also on an Olivia cruise, and I did some touring around the winter solstice and did another Freight gig. And then let's see, what do I have? I have some festivals in the summer. I'm completely blanking what I have. A couple of festivals I know, and I do in the summer. I have kind of a festival band with Lori Lewis, the bluegrass musician, and Vicki Randall. It's a trio that I formed years ago, about 12 years ago, called Hills to Hollers, and it's it's exploring both the African American roots of bluegrass and American folk music. So we go in, it's a little bit musicological, where there's a lot of songs where there was like the African American version and then the white version of the same song from the olden days and things like that. But it's a great festival band. We do a lot of fiddling and drumming and 3-part harmony, and it's really fun. So we have some.
That's exciting. Will you guys be playing again in the Bay Area, or?
We don't have anything planned right now. We're hoping to play at Hardly Strictly Bluegrass this year.
Fun. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe we'll be there. So yeah, I have many different projects going. And
so yeah, you are multi-talented, multi-disciplined here, and from Hills to Hollers, you're awesome fiddle player to traditional jazz and everything in between, pop, folk, African, amazing. So I'm just glad I get a chance to talk to you about your new album and all the
Thank you.
exciting things you have coming up. And this is it again, Presence. And folks can get that on your website, barbarahigbie.com. They can get it many places, Amazon, I'm sure. And do you have download?
Yeah, I think if you go to my website, you can download. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So everybody needs to run out and get that and soothe their soul with
The one project I have this year is I'm going to help Laura make an album.
Yes, we are. And now we have set it publicly, so it will happen.
It'll happen sometime.
I'm excited. Thank you. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be great. Yeah.
How lucky am I? So thank you so much, Barb, for being on the show.
Laura. I really appreciate it so much. So thank you.
Well, I'm looking forward to your concert with Teresa and all of it. So
okay.
See you again soon.
A million. Okay. Bye. Bye.